If you know what being a school kid is like, then you know there's nothing more exciting than walking into your classroom and seeing the teacher try to work some TV from the early 90s. Ha! We don't have to do any work! Well, at least not until later school years when you get those packets where you have to listen for the answer and they only say it once, so if you look back and see a blank answer, you know you're screwed. But thinking back, a lot of the stuff they played was really cheesy.
I'm gonna go online. My online friends will be there, and maybe some new ones. Yeah!
But by any chance, does anyone remember Storylords? Basically the idea is that there's a geek named Norbert, and his sister Mandy who's pretty much pointless. This old guy named Lexer summons them whenever the citizens of Mojust are under attack by Thorzul. Norbert usually stops Thorzul, with the power of English. Doesn't sound very exciting, does it? Yeah, it usually wasn't.
Are you all finished reading? Okay, you may close your books. Just leave them on your desks.
In the last episode of the series, Thorzul is finally defeated. Sorry for spoilers! Anyway, the scene in which he dies actually scared me back in the day. Grab your popcorn and watch this amazing moment.
3,
Finished. Read it, Nori.
2,
Hawks and
One.
their relatives vary in size. The smallest, the falconet, weighs barely 2 ounces. Its largest cousin, the harpy eagle, can weigh more than 15 pounds. That's like the difference between you and an elephant.
I don't believe it!
I don't think it would be very comfortable getting eaten by your own suit, especially if you're screaming in pain as you slowly shrink away to nothing but smoke. Looking back though, you would be a very pathetic villain if your biggest weakness was sentences getting arranged. Wouldn't you agree with me, Pac-Man?
I'm not Pac-Man. The name's Commander Commando. We're exploring the depths of space. Let's check in on Agent Hawk.
Space doesn't have air. That means I'm in trouble. In ancient Egypt, a sarcophagus formed the outer layer of protection for a royal mummy, with several layers of coffins nested within, and was often carved out of alabaster. Once again, I'm fine. Now what's the fear that takes fourth place? A musical number. I was afraid of a flippin' musical number. Just like number 5, this goes back to my early school days. But exactly which song am I talking about? Yep, and we all sounded just as bad as those kids. Skin and Bones is a spooky song about a senior citizen skeleton, say that 5 times fast, who goes across some random graveyard, looking for the closet containing her broom. This song is pathetic. It's only about 13 sentences long, every other sentence being the sound. And apparently in this graveyard, the bones are just laying around. Sheesh, they didn't even have the decency to actually bury the bones. So as the song goes on, your singing voice is supposed to get quieter and quieter. Then at the very ending, you shout boo at the top of your lungs. See, my music teacher was a jerk. When she introduced the song to us, 75% of the room was in total darkness. She gave us no warning that she was going to shout boo. So naturally when she did it, I jumped about 30 feet. But when I looked at my other classmates, none of them had even flinched. They just sat there with a bunch of straight faces. What did I have that they didn't? Feelings? From that point on, I was never ready to sing that song. I have to wonder if anyone else felt the same way. So one time on April Fool's Day, there was a sticker on our bathroom mirror that made it look like it was cracked. I was afraid of it because it looked like a spider. There's really nothing else for me to say. You may have seen me mess around on a piano several times in my channel. I'm actually pretty experienced with the piano as I have been playing since I was 4 years old. My first personal keyboard was this one right here. It has a heck ton of different instruments and sound effects to choose from. But there was one choice of instrument that was rather unsettling back in the day. Vehicles. You probably get the point by now. The first time I heard that sound, I noped it out of there like there was no tomorrow. It didn't help matters when someone else tried the keyboard for himself. Now each instrument has its own number, so you can select that number on the keypad if you want that instrument. The number for vehicles was 77, so I told this person not to choose 77. He responded, "Number 77 kills 4-year-old boys." And that's exactly what I was at that time. Thanks for traumatizing me. Despite that, I slowly learned the vehicle sound effects were actually pretty cool. Now it's time for number 1. Are you ready? We've taken quite the trip down frightening memory lane, and here we are at the climax. My dumbest childhood fear of all time was... Welcome back to Millionaire! I'm gonna try and make this fear as logical as possible. Okay, so you know how most game shows are. They've got bright colors, cheering music, and those super obnoxious hosts. Well, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was the exact opposite of that. It probably has the most dim lighting of any game show. Most of it is pitch black, and the only light you can see is the one shining down on the super nervous contestant. I even remember one time where you could see this guy's armpit sweat. The music? Oh, don't even get me started. It's pretty fast-paced for the first few questions, but then come the more difficult questions. Now the music is slow with the occasional scare chord, and they even play the sound of a heartbeat to make you more nervous. That moment of silence between the guess and the answer was one of the most intense things I had ever seen on television. Everything about this show was like waiting for a jump scare, and my childhood self sometimes did get jump scared. Bam! Kill those answers! Only enough room for 50-50, bro. Gate raked. The only one who could help you was a loved one off in the distance. Oh, the lonely sound of a dial tone. But for me, the scariest part of the show was when they ran out of time. Nuh-uh, that's it. I'm out of here. And I'm guessing that was what went on in my head back then. I am Lightning Manectric, and I'll give you 4 choices. Like, comment, subscribe, or check out some of my other videos.
Internet safety deals with serious issues in a lighthearted, kid-friendly way.
Internet safety deals with serious issues in a lighthearted, kid-friendly way.